So Arsenal 0, Newcastle 0. Wasn't the greatest game of football in the end to watch. We didn't score. First points dropped at home all season. We've had an immaculate record at home. The two best defenses in the league cancelled each other out. And after the first 15, 20 minutes, it didn't look like that was going to be the way. Two penalty shouts in the mix, yellow cards everywhere. And kind of disappointing in the end. But we're going to get into player ratings. Before we do that, make sure you smash the like button. Sub to Matt's channel, sub to Jez's channel. The links will be in the description, people. And for anybody who hasn't checked out all the fan cams, do go back and check them out. But for anyone who hasn't, whilst they're watching this, Jez, give us your little breakdown of how you see that today, mate.
Yeah, disappointed, mate. I thought that was a great opportunity for us to stamp authority. They didn't take it up. We started great, 20 minutes. Newcastle came with a game plan and they executed it perfectly. So respect to them. And I respect Newcastle as a team and as a city, and their fan base is outstanding. I'd always say if you ever get the chance to go and see Newcastle in Newcastle, go. It will be the best away game you've ever seen in your life. The atmosphere is phenomenal. The fans there today were phenomenal. Our fans were, I think, a bit quiet, to be honest. But there was a lot of players today for Arsenal, Lee, that didn't really turn up. So, and the referee got played like a puppet, and in my view, spoiled the game.
Mate, I concur on Newcastle. What a city. I've been to that ground. You've been to that ground, mate. The people there are amazing. The fans are crazy. Beautiful stadium. And the nightlife. If you're a single young man, you want to get yourself to Newcastle real quick.
Even if you're an old man, it's a great view.
No, it is. It's a fantastic evening.
When you've got a drink in the pubs, you're going a bit like, bit shaky hands. But it's great. It's fabulous.
Make sure if you do go there, people, you take photographic ID. Otherwise, you ain't getting into any pub or nightclub there. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're 900 years old; they will not let you in. It's all scan the ID and all of that, which is why there's no trouble there. Matt, give us your little breakdown, bro.
Well, walked away from this game realizing that we must have a striker brought in ASAP. Missed points, missed opportunity. We got a point, but we could have got 3 had we had somebody that could put the ball in the back of the net. It felt like everybody was on pins and needles most of the game. Even the crowd, as Jez said, it was probably the quietest I've seen our crowd in a while. I just feel like we really need to get these signings in so that we can try to push and get over this line. Otherwise, we're going to be looking back on this game as one of the games that we had a missed opportunity.
100%. Listen, to everyone who has watched these player ratings for many, many weeks, months, years, whatever it may be, we don't care if you cry. If you don't like the rating, stick your own rating in the chat. We'll be back again on Monday for the game against Oxford regardless. Let's just get straight into it, man. Aaron Ramsdale, Jez.
I'm giving it a 6. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have a lot to do. Let's be fair. I think Newcastle had 7 shots against ours. So fair play to him. I'll give him a 6.
Benjamin White, Matt, got subbed off in the second half, was blowing, put a shift in. Didn't really do anything bad, but got subbed for Tomiyasu 2 games in a row as well. What did you make of his performance?
I'd say probably a 6 out of 10. Just another day at the office. Not saying he was bad or anything, but it was just another day at the office. I mean, he held up well there for most of the game, and he got those cramps there in the second half and had to come off. But I thought he did pretty decent today.
Opposite side, Zinchenko, Jez, second start in a row.
Yeah, I think, mate, today, I don't think he was great today. And what worries me, why does he keep coming into the centre? I just don't like seeing that. Why is he doing that as a left back? He keeps cutting into the centre. Maybe that's Arteta's plan. I don't know. But I felt today he was totally ineffectual. Didn't rate him. Sorry, mate, you're getting a 5.
I agree. I thought he was shocking. There will be people that disagree, but it is what it is.
Okay.
I see people in my live chat earlier saying he was man of the match. I was like, okay. Yeah, okay. Let's go to Gabriel Magalhaes, manhandled for a penalty that weren't given. Blocked quite a bit today. Was everywhere, up and down, front, back, sides. What did you make of him, Matt?
Gabriel, I thought had a halfway decent game today. It's like I told you last week. I said the Bozo gene is off him, and it's moved over to Saliba, who actually had a good game today. But he continued another week, a solid game. He's probably the highest rated person today for me, and I give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he handled things pretty well because it could have got a whole lot worse than what it did. But I just feel like he's building off of another week of. If he can keep this up consistently, I'll be a happy man. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, I thought he was good, man. I thought he was really good today. Let's go to his partner in crime, Jez, Saliba.
Yeah, Saliba, he's worrying me at the moment. He's not being the effectual player that he once was. I don't know if I after our chat last night, Lee, I've been thinking he was at the World Cup for 6 weeks and he was being coached by a totally different coach, Deschamps. So maybe that's in his head and that's giving him some confusion. He's a young man and I can understand that. But yeah, he needs to get back out of that. Arteta needs to have a serious chat with him and get him back to where he once was before the World Cup. And I'm sorry to say he's got a 6.
Let's move into midfield. Thomas Partey.
Thomas Partey today, I'm kind of torn because I want to give him a 6, but 5 is what's in my head, so I'm going to go with 5. I just thought that with the ball tonight, there was a lot of opportunities there for passes to score, a lot of opportunities to keep the play moving. And it seemed like he was overthinking what he was doing because Newcastle was applying pressure throughout most of that game. It seemed like every time one of our midfielders touched the ball, they were closing in. And so it was panic. It was almost like they were panicking, trying to figure out where they needed to pass. And there was opportunities there for us to, get down the pitch. And he wasn't taking advantage of it. And then it was just struggling with transition tonight was a big problem. Transition was a big problem tonight. Whereas if you look at the Brighton game, we were doing exactly what we needed to do. But for some weird reason tonight, and you can chalk it up to Newcastle, like I told you earlier on the fan cam watching tape, teams are starting to figure this thing out. And we've got to have players that can mentally see things and make it happen. So I'm going to have to go with Partey tonight, 5 out of 10.
I thought he started really well and faded and got worse and worse.
Yep.
So I agree, man. Let's go to Granit Xhaka, Jez.
Yeah, Granit Xhaka. Disappointed again. I mean, he's been so good this season. He was great at Brighton. But today, totally ineffectual and disappointing. Don't know. The midfield, I think, in general, to me, was poor today. I think we got overridden by Newcastle. And, 5.
Probably our best player, Matt, for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Overall, chipping in with goals, assists, back heels, Cruyff turns, nutmegs. Martin Odegaard.
Well, we praise him when he's good, but I have to let you know when he has a rough night, and the night wasn't one of those nights. Seems like when we play competition that's a little bit higher, that's when he seems to struggle. This is where we tend to have those talks about he needs to step his game up. Tonight would have been if I would have loved to have had the performance against Brighton tonight. That tonight would have been great. But it just couldn't. He was trying to do stuff, couldn't pull it off, misjudging passes. A couple of times there, passes going out for goal kicks. I just those are the games. These are the games that kind of just drive me crazy. He has to really learn how to play against better opponents as opposed to when we play teams that are lesser than. That's what's going to make him a higher caliber player. So with that being said, I'm going to drop him a nice 5 out of 10.
Let's go to Martinelli, Jez.
Yeah, he oh dear, today I just couldn't see what was happening there. I think the problem with Martinelli tonight, he does need the overlapping support from that left back, and he wasn't getting great support from Xhaka today. I think Xhaka was being overrun in midfield, therefore Martinelli was isolated, and he was poor today. He certainly looked a lot better than that when I saw him at Brighton on New Year's Eve. And yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Martinelli, you're getting a 5.
Well, let's go opposite sides. Star boy, Matt.
I tell you what, man. Bukayo Saka, man. I mean, he came out of the gates on fire, but couldn't get anything going. I'm going to have to give him a 6 out of 10. This is a problem that he's going to run into too, because when we play these teams with stout defenses, they know how to handle them, and they would always have they were actually double covering him tonight. Every time he touched the ball, somebody came over for support, and that made it hard for him. And no, this is what we're going to be dealing with for, I'd say, probably about 60% of the season, rest of the season, is teams, nullifying him and forcing us to go somewhere else. But all in all, 6 out of 10.
It don't help when both Martinelli or Saka don't have overlapping fullbacks.
Yeah,
because they all want to come inside.
Yeah, I mean that's a problem, Lee. That's a problem that you brought that problem up about 2 or 3 times. This is I don't understand why our fullbacks don't do that, because it provides the attacking player another with an avenue to create. But when he gets the ball and he's facing 2 or 3 defenders and you're standing behind me, that's no good,
Yeah, 100%, man. Let's go to Eddie Nketiah. Didn't really have a lot offered up to him, but when he did get a chance, Jez, it was a great first touch and a good save from the goalkeeper. That's where we need him to finish his dinner. What did you make of him, mate?
Right. This is going to sound very harsh, and I think this proves a certain fact that we don't have a top level class striker. When we're in this situation against a very stoic side like Newcastle, you have to have a very clinical striker, and we haven't got one. So I'm very sorry, Eddie. You've proven tonight, up against a higher class level of a team, that you've played against 2 teams that aren't as good. Tonight you played against a decent defence. You couldn't compete. You weren't good enough. And I just hope the Arsenal board see through the eyes that I see and other players, fans see, this guy is not going to make the mark at this level of this type of game that we saw today. So I'm very sorry, Eddie, you've got a 4.
Yeah, I agree. People won't, but we don't care.
I don't care.
The only sub that we brought on was Tomiyasu, who actually played better than he did against Brighton, but that weren't difficult. What did you make of him, Matt?
I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot outside of saving 1 or 2 goal scoring chances there. I don't know, I put like a 5, 6 at best. I mean, he didn't set the world on fire when he came in. I mean, but that goes back to what I asked earlier: is if Arteta's going to make that decision, Jez alluded to it earlier. Zinchenko wanted to play in midfield. He can play midfield. His primary position is left back, but he can play midfield. If Arteta did not think Vieira was capable of coming into that game or into the, with all those giants, because you also have to remember this: Vieira coming in out against Newcastle tonight, he would have been pushed all over the pitch. Why not bring Zinchenko into the middle of the pitch, bring Tierney in, and then run him down the flanks? But instead, he brings in Tomiyasu, who looked like he was actually almost struggling on that left-hand side. I mean, it was a lot of questions that kind of, we walked away with a lot of questions that need to be asked tonight about moving forward with this team.
100%, man. 100%.
Very good point.
Yeah, man. And big up to everyone who is watching this. Smash the likes up. Subscribe to both lads' channels, Jez and to Matt's channel. Both links will be in the description. You know how this rolls. We're going to do a 3, 2, 1, and then we're all going to rate the manager. 3, 2, 1.
4.
Go on, Matt.
4.
Give us your 4.
I just think that this is my concern with Arteta in this season. I've said it last season, but this season is going to tell it. It's really going to push it out. His inability to coach in critical situations. Tonight was a critical situation. We had about 15 to 20 minutes where had he made the right substitutions, we could have made some changes. He has to lead, even though we all know we don't have strong attacking options on the bench. We know this. He has to look over and see there's somewhere I can play. So he has to identify a weakness in the other team. That say, okay, well, I can bring this player in to exploit this, or I can exploit that, or I can make this player, I can move this player over here, move players over here. He doesn't do that. I noticed something. When he gets really frustrated, he takes it out on the referee. He goes straight over to the referee and he worries the referee instead of making the changes that need to be made. This is something that concerns me moving into the latter half of the season. When we're playing United 0-0, we need 3 points. What is he going to do in a couple of weeks? What is he going to do when we play? We got City two times in coming up soon. What is he going to do in those games when we're at City at Etihad? We're down 2-1. What changes is he going to make? These are questions nobody's asking.
Yeah. Bro, these were questions all of us were asking when everyone was handing out 7, 8s, and 9s for a transfer window in the summer.
Yeah. People telling you to apologize. For what?
Yeah, but it's kind of funny that they asked me to apologize for Arteta and for Odegaard, and then Odegaard drops one of the worst performances he's done all season. It's kind of mad. This is going
to be a very long second half of the season. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint, people. And we gotta, if we do not get this transfer window correct, then I'll just mail it in because I already know what's happening.
Fact. Jez, you gave a 5, similar to me, same as me. Reason I gave a 5, bang average.
I gave him a 5, Lee. Personally, I think he was totally out of his depth tonight, and this is what concerns me. He made the wrong substitution with the wrong player. He didn't mix it up, and we talked about this last season. He had opportunity, as Matt has said. He could have put Zinchenko into midfield, put Tierney overlapping down on the left wing, supporting Martinelli. We know that works. We know that tactic works. He just didn't see that. He didn't, if you're a good chess player, then you have to mix up your tactics. If you're on your back foot, then you have to make some midfield defensive changes, attacking changes, whatever it is. Yeah. He doesn't see, this is what concerns me, guys. He doesn't seem to me to have that. I saw it last season at Brighton when he was there, totally lost. Absolutely.
Man United this season.
Yeah, Man United. Yeah.
I watched him last year at Brighton when Graham Potter, when he was manager at Brighton, sat on the bench, was looking at him like that. And he was like giving it all the signals to land planes at Gatwick. And I'm thinking, it was, this is my concern. Yes, I've praised him. I have praised him. And I said, if he proves me wrong, fair play, I'll take my hat off to him. But tonight, he proved his inability in his tactical ability to mix it all up. And that is a major concern considering the games we're going to be entering in the next month.
100% agree. And on that bombshell, we are out of here, people. I'll be live with Jez tomorrow on his channel at 6 p.m. I'm also live on here with James Redmond. I need to find out what time. And We're out of here, people. Make sure you subscribe to Jez's channel, Matt's channel, and make sure you sub to my second channel as well. Adios, amigos. Very disappointing.
Claudia Crescent.